We've got updates from viewers from all over on what they've seen at their stores, their local communities, and their jobs, and what they found out. Welcome to the Poplar Report, and happy Iowa caucuses. We've entered the election season here in the United States, where we will spend the next 10 months hearing from way more politicians and media that lies about the politicians than you ever wanted to, so that the 20% of Americans who care the very least about what's going on in the world and have absolutely no clue what's going on can finally choose their favorite color. And this week you're also probably going to be hearing a lot more about winter weather than you'd probably like to, because there's a storm and it's cold pretty much everywhere in the United States. Before we dive into your reports, we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people who have retirement accounts get over into gold, silver, or platinum physical metal for your retirement plan. If you have questions about that or you'd like to learn more, there'll be a link at the end of the video. Coming from Elbert, ribeye steak was $25.99 a pound at Lowe's Food in King, North Carolina. That's pretty pricey. Steve, you were right about the prices ratcheting up. People are going to suffer even more, and I don't think prices will ever go down. Well, they're certainly not going to go down for a little bit, because we have the beef shortage that's happening, where we've been talking about how ranchers are reporting as they've brought beef cattle into the slaughter and to sell to wholesalers, they're being asked to sell upfront cattle for next year at 2 to 3 times the rate that they're getting right now. So the food processors, the butchers, they know that the prices are going to be going through the roof in the future, and they're trying to get ahead of things. So expect us to be hammered at the stores. If you like your steaks, you might want to stock up now. The prices are bad, but they're going to get a whole lot worse. This is from Brad. Had my own SHTF, or stuff hitting the fan, in southwest Missouri. Furnace squirrel cage seized up after 15 plus years, and if you're like me, and I had to Google that, yeah, that's a fan for some kinds of furnaces. It made horrible noises for 3 days prior, and then finally seized up. This morning in the Ozarks, it's 20 degrees and feels like 11 degrees. Tech can't replace it until next Monday. Sub-freezing temperatures and no heat at your house. Yeah, that's a problem. Hopefully everyone's prepared for that, because this kind of stuff happens. They're all booked up doing other furnace problems. Thankfully, we are prepared. Plenty of fuel for our fireplace with forced air heating, and a few space heaters were on standby, getting plenty of use now. Also, good thing we have credit ready to use. Not cheap, $2,600 for install of new furnace. Stay alert and stay prepared, my friends. Good advice out there. It is cold out there. Make sure you have your backup heat ready to go. If you lose power, remember, first thing you do is you get online and you check with your power supplier and try to figure out what's going on. If it's a storm coming through, then they're going to be out there repairing stuff. It's when you can't find any reason why things are down, or very large swaths of people are down, you know it's going to take a while to get turned back on. And you can plan appropriately when you can see how many outages in your area there are. That's important to know so that you can plan appropriately. In the summertime, it's, your refrigerators and your freezers and whatever. In the wintertime, you got to get your heat plan going. Make sure that you're staying warm and make sure that your tech is staying charged up. This is from Cyber. El Paso, Texas, went to Walmart, which I hate, but what can you do? I know, it's good prices, right? There was hardly any fresh veggies. No peppers, no potatoes, no frozen fries or hash browns. Very low to no teas. Very low on the meat section and still expensive. Went shopping for good deals at Albertsons, and most of the items on sale were totally gone, especially the bacon. So if you need to shop for cheaper items on sale, you have to be quick. Thanks for the updates, everyone. If you have an update please do send that in. All you have to do is just comment on any video on this channel, use the word update, and that gets it to the right place, and give us some sort of geographical location. If you have some insider information from your workplace or something like that that you need to keep more anonymous, you can always email me directly at poplarpreparedness@gmail.com. This is from Matt in Warner Robins, Georgia, at Aldi. Romaine lettuce. One entire row was dated January 3rd, 2024. The rest of the entire display was dated 12/28, 23. I imagine that's 23, not 03. But if it was 03, that would be even worse. But when they asked, clerk just shrugged and said, "That's all we have." They're putting out what they have. And if you've looked at lettuce recently, if you looked at any of the produce, it's just a lot of it's really, really sad. The bag salads, I used to always get the bag salads, but I look at the bag salads now and they're just wilted and yuck inside there. You can do a little better with the fresh iceberg lettuce or the fresh romaine lettuce sometimes. The romaine lettuce looked pretty bad recently here. You still can get the box salads that look fairly good, but it's a bit more expensive, right? Sue says, as an ICU ER nurse for over 30 years, winter has always been bad and backed up. We've been talking about a lot of reports out there, people waiting a long time, backed up in waiting rooms, halls. That is not new, but talking with friends that are still working, it is seemingly worse because of staffing, and the staff that is there is burnt out, especially since CV. And honestly, most just don't care anymore. I would never go to the hospital unless I was found unresponsive out somewhere and someone mistakenly called 911. As for medication, I try to get something as natural as possible. Thanks, Steve, for all the updates you do. Crazy days ahead. Stay vigilant and prepped up, folks. Well, that's not a ringing vote of endorsement from you, but yeah, I mean, you have to go to the hospital when you got to go to the hospital, right? But, some people go for like no reason whatsoever. And it's just like, if you're not really sick, there's a non-zero possibility that you might catch something pretty nasty when you go to the hospital, right? Am I right? Because where do all the sick people go, right? And then if you're waiting for hours and hours in the ER, or you're waiting around these people, you can catch stuff, right? So be careful and make smart choices, right? Sandy says, has been very difficult for months to try to find any brand country-style chunky hash browns at any of our local Walmarts. I always try to keep some in the freezer, as I use to make crock pot potato soup during cold weather. Good stuff, good stuff. Shopping at 4 local stores in central Alabama. Yep. Hard. Some of these potatoes are getting hard to find. That's for sure. Karen says, went to Walmart in Houston, Texas. Vitamins are sparse and there are a ton of holes. I asked the clerk what happened, who happens to be the manager of that department, why they're short of vitamins, and she said that the supply chain has been deeply affected and it's only going to get worse, she said. Most of our vitamins are made in China and other countries, and they are just not getting them in. Now, some are stuck on boats going the long way around continents, so there's that too, right? But there seems to be a lot of disruptions over in China and India where a lot of vitamins do come from. This is very concerning. Even when I looked online, the vitamins we take are not available. Most vitamins don't really go bad, so might as well stock up a bit, right? If it's powdered stuff in gel capsules, as long as you keep them dry, they do last, a long time, as long as you don't get them too warm, right? And that is a good thing. I've been thinking about this, and I'm now going to start saying it. I know how the government, that wants you to spy on your neighbors, says, if you see something, say something. I'm going to say, if you see something, ask someone. If you see something in the store, just like Karen did, ask somebody. If you see something missing and you see a store employee, doesn't hurt to ask them, hey, do you know anything about this? because if you can share that information, it's really helpful. I know, especially you guys who have turned in information like that, that you've talked to general managers of stores, you've talked to managers of stores. These type of people, they know a lot more than a lot of us do. And so really appreciate you guys getting that information when you can, and talking to truck drivers, talking to supply people. If you know people, finding out information is super helpful and helps us all stay ahead of the curve. And that's what's important, because if we can get you ahead of the curve, you can buy up stuff and make sure your family's taken care of. We're entering into crises, and you got to do what you can, right? For yourself, for your family, and for your friends and loved ones. Jill says, stopped by Kroger on the way home from work today in a busy central Ohio well-off suburb. Went to the deli, which I haven't done in a few months. There was 1/3 to 1/2 of the meat and cheese they usually carry. I asked the deli counter person about it. Good job. She said that they would now only be selling a fraction of the meat and cheese they used to. They tried to hide how empty the deli case was by using big signs, but it was quite clear. I was shocked, as this is a well-off suburb with people who can afford to buy expensive things. It was clear that this was not a temporary change. It didn't look that bad even during the shutdown. It's expensive having someone behind that counter, so I can imagine that they want to move to everyone buying stuff out of a plastic bag, right? I mean, if the prepackaged stuff sells and they can charge just as much for that, and they don't have to put an employee back there behind the counter with a sharp object, and, makes sense. Prover says, Bristol, Tennessee, Ballad Health in Bristol Regional Medical Center, ER, 13 hours in the waiting room. 1 hour in the room wait before the doctor came in, 14 hours to see a doctor in the ER at Bristol, Tennessee. So that's the kind of wait times we're seeing a lot out there. So use that information as best you can to either call ahead if you can, or try to go to alternate doctors and such like that. If you know it's going to be a long wait at an ER, and your condition may be able to be checked up by a doctor at an office, an outpatient or something like that, that might be a better option. I don't know. Make smart choices. Do what you can. Prover says, you had better be your own doctor, have your own meds, etc. That's the truth. We need to get back to being self-sufficient as best we can. We have a lot of technology at our hands, and I'm not saying that you can replace what doctors do. Of course not. But some of you have friends. There's telemedicine, right? And if you can get a leg up on things, if you kind of can figure out what things are or what they might be before you get in, you might be able to circumvent some lines. From a viewer from Kansas City, Missouri. In December, I received a letter from one of our hospitals that informed me that they were hacked and to keep an eye on my credit card report. Then yesterday, I received a letter from another hospital near me saying the same thing. 2 hospitals. That's concerning. On Monday, I called my doctor office to make an appointment for my annual checkup and was told she could not set up future appointments because their system was down due to hacking. She told me to call back in a couple weeks and hopefully it would be back up and running. Couple weeks. My uncle had an appointment for an MRI at the hospital, the first one mentioned. When he arrived, he was sent home because they couldn't do it because their computers were still down. He needs surgery, but needs an MRI first. His doctor told him he may have to go to a private imaging office to get it done, which his insurance is unlikely to pay for. Stay safe and vigilant, everyone. Medication shortages. And when you even try to get medical care, you can't be seen by a doctor because their computer systems aren't working. Or they're just overloaded, or there's just not enough staff on hand. You seeing how the systematic destruction of these things, and I know a lot of you don't subscribe to all of the conspiracies and everything like that out there, and I'm a conspiracy skeptic most of the time, but I know that certain people have been pushing for socialized medicine, one-payer system, really hard, and then it just seems like every time they're in power, it's like everything that can be done to systematically destroy or make the current medical system look as bad as possible seems to happen all magically at once. And it just seems like they're trying to make everyone so upset about the medical system that they'll cry out, "Government, please save us." And friends, when we do that, they're going to take away every single freedom we have. Instead of saying, "Government, come save us," perhaps we should be looking up at the sky and saying, "God, save us." Thanks for joining us, folks. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold Group, there's a link right here. You can click right on the screen. Or if you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. Thanks so much for joining us. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.